morning to you, dear, and welcome to the Idea Morning Digest. And yes, it's the first light of day. I've settled.
Yeah.
Yes, we find ourselves in, at the intersection of global realities and, even local realities as well. And of course, local discourse and global discourses as well. My name is Cynthia Basi, and of course...
My name is...
okay. Let me
and my name is Mary Ojimajo.
Okay, welcome.
Good morning.
Mary. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Good to join you.
Thank
this morning.
you.
And, yes.
No, good to join you this morning, actually.
Okay.
And by the way, I love the color of your dress.
Thank you. I think I'm
You are
matching
welcome.
with the background. Yes, I'm representing Idea TV fully.
Okay,
So,
that's nice.
with the red and white.
That's nice.
Okay, this is how we welcome you to the Idea Morning Digest today, and we're moving beyond the headlines. We're going to be examining, a lot of underlying current happenings that is shaping our society and all of our agendas and lives, and different aspects of our lives. But then let's run you through the headlines we have for today. But before that, if you like what we do here, you have to like what we do here. Yes, because you can't be tuned in and not like what we do here. Send in your ideas, send in your comments, send in your opinions, send in your thoughts to us at Idea Television, and of course on other social media platforms, and of course via email at Idea TV Limited. But then let's see the headlines we'll be bringing your way this morning. The first, MAKINDE appoints new security advisor, and the federal government supplies EKITI. Region of Nigeria says Senate passes electronic transmission of election results. ABARIBE clarifies. Okay, we'll go on a short break now, and when we're back, we will begin with the show proper.
Number 2, advanced neurotechnology beyond BCIs. Brain-computer interfaces grabbed headlines when Neuralink implanted its first chip in 2024. But neurotechnology is much broader. Researchers are testing non-invasive brain stimulation to treat depression and PTSD, while companies like Kernel are developing helmets that can monitor brain activity with unprecedented detail. Clinical trials are exploring personalized brain therapies for epilepsy and Alzheimer's. In 2023, the U.S. NIH launched its Brain Initiative 2.0, investing billions in advanced neurotech. By 2026, these innovations could expand from medical use into wellness and cognitive enhancement. Number 3, sustainable tech and green.
It's good to have you back, and if you're just joining, this is the Idea Morning Digest. And yes, before the break, I told you we'll be bringing the news headline segment to you. And the first story we have here is that your state governor, MAKINDE, has today approved the appointment of Major General Lukman Omoniyi as executive advisor on security coordination with immediate effect. In a statement issued by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Musibao Babatunde, the governor charged the retired senior military officer with coordinating security activities across the state to ensure safety for residents. Major General Omoniyi is a seasoned infantry officer with extensive command and strategic excellence or experience. He holds postgraduate degrees from the University of Ibadan and is currently pursuing a doctorate in peace and security studies. But yes, let's talk about what stands out here. Aside that, it ended with us reading a little biography of the newly appointed major. But then, I feel like what stands out to me here is the timing and the choice, because when we look at it, if a governor brings in a retired major general and gives him a coordination heavy role, if I should even put it that way, it's usually an admission that security problems are no longer isolated incidents again, because we've been experiencing a lot of security insecurity challenges in the country. It now shows us that security problems is layered. It's more like a layered problem. It's overlapping and sometimes competing across agencies. So Oyo State sits at should I say a tricky crossroad here, with border communities, expanding urban centers. They have a spillover risks of neighboring should I say states, and this kind of rule suggests that the governor wants fewer silos and more central control, especially when it comes to security issues. So, and there's also something very symbolic here about appointing someone with both battlefield experience and academic grounding in when it comes to peace and security issues. And it hints at a should I say, it hints at a shift away from that boost only approach to security. It's more like Nigeria has learned over time, especially with the recent happenings in the country and other in the interference of even the foreign aids and foreign countries. I feel like Nigeria has learned, but how we learn most times or sometimes is usually through the hard way, which is not always a welcome idea, but somehow we have learned rather, and that forces we've learned that, should I say, without intelligence, without community trust and all of those conflict preventions, that all of those things do not have a strong hold for a very long time. So I feel like the real test won't be about carrying somebody who has plenty stars, carrying somebody who has, or come out and give press statements and tell people that this is what we want to do. We want to see whether this office given to the new major can actually get the police, get local security outfits, get traditional institutions, get all of those federal actors to come together and speak the same language, and fight for the same cause and have the same interest. Because we've seen over time, it was the other day we were talking on the Idea Morning Digest how the police say people should not use bike in Kebbi State or so, and the state government and the federal government are distributing EV motor cycles. You get, so all of those things, we just want to see one voice. We just want to ensure that there is one voice. Everybody is speaking the same language, because that's harder than it sounds. Exactly. If we look at it very well, many states have failed at it quietly. So and again, new appointments like this, like I started off saying, doesn't automatically translate into safer communities, safer societies, a safe state. Security improves when political leaders backs tough coordination decisions, cooperate with agencies, security agencies, cooperate with local security bodies and all of those things. You bring state policing and all of these things are come together, exactly, so they won't entrench interest, just like I started off saying. But I just think if Makinde gives this advisor room to act, because given his experience, given the Major General's experience in security issues, I think it's going to, maybe we might see something come out of it. But if not, I think we are just going to, it's just going to be another impressive resume. We are carrying somebody with a very impressive resume, and then nothing is done. We want to see how the state is going to come together and join forces with him and see that their goal is achieved.
Exactly what you said. Cooperation and communication is very, very important in duty work. So I believe Governor Makinde has done well by appointing him. Before he was appointed, I believe they've done their background checks. They've known that this is the man for the job. He's not only giving out the job, is to know that this person is actually going to carry out this job dutifully, and also a person that is very disciplined, because discipline must come in. And like you said, policing the state is very, very important. Last time we read about police and army coming together for cooperation, and I believe this insecurity issue, as it's being handled in this way, that gradually they are entering into it, and gradually we are getting solutions, and at the end of the day we'll come out victorious. Because with this kind of move and bringing somebody that knows exactly what he wants to do, put things in place, and also I'm also saying that the federal government should also help support in terms of equipment, in terms of equipping those people, making them ready for the job. Because one thing is to know your job, and another thing is to have things to work with. And most of them complain about we know our job, but we don't have tools to work with. So I believe that this being put in place right now, the state is going to at least be relieved from insecurity issues, because that is, insecurity is what we've been battling for a very, very long time. You keep seeing different styles of insecurity coming into the country, and with this put in place now, with all the biography we've read about this new appointed security agent, we believe that he's going to do better and well for the state.
Okay, we hope to see that. But then let's see the next story we have here, and this is in Ekiti State, where the federal government has supplied Ekiti State with 80. I'm talking about supplying supplies.
Okay.
Ekiti State with 80,500 doses of livestock vaccines to curb transboundary animal diseases. The vaccines were delivered through the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Program and received on Thursday in Ado Ekiti. Ekiti State's Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Ebenezer Bodowade, said the vaccines will strengthen animal health systems and improve livestock productivity. He confirmed that coordinated vaccination campaigns will ensure wide coverage across farming communities. Officials of the program said the delivery supports disease surveillance and prevention, with veterinary officers ensuring proper cold chain management and timely administration to reduce livestock mortality and protect food security. Talking about food security, and this might sound like just a small agricultural study, story. It may sound like it's one of those things, but this is food security. This is where our mind turns to food security. It's actually about food prices. It's actually about rural livelihoods as well. It's actually about national stability, so even economic stability. Animal diseases don't make the headlines. I remember the last time we talked about, we brought a veterinarian here, and he was talking about health care for animals, and we brought him because something came up where genitals of donkeys were found in a truck being transferred from somewhere in the northeast to, I think, outside Nigeria. I think it was found in the border. I think it was nabbed or something in the border. So that was how they got to know. Like on a normal day, people do not pay attention to animals that much. We just know that we want to eat chicken, we want to eat this, we want to eat goat meat, we want to eat cow meat, and all of those things. But we do not understand the underlying care that these animals too needs to be cared for. We do not understand all of the underlying issues about this. Animal diseases, like I said before, they will not on a normal day make headlines. People will not hear about them, but yet they are quietly wipe out income that is supposed to be generated into the country, especially when you look at how the generation of income for small farmers. And we're talking, sometimes we go to the market and you are hearing 1 kilo of meat is up to 7,000 naira. Half kilo of meat is up to, this was something that you can get for as low as 500 naira before. And you are asking them, you will be quarreling in the market and complaining, why is the price going on? These are the reasons why prices of meat are going higher in markets. And we have refused to pay attention to this sector. This is a country where protein consumption is already below global average. Nigeria, I'm talking of Nigeria. We are losing livestock. We are losing livestock to a lot of preventable diseases. As simple as even cold is killing some of our animals. This is because we do not pay attention to this sector. And yet it is hard for us to admit that this sector needs to be concentrated on as well. It ties to our livelihood as well. And what I found encouraging about this is that this isn't just about dumping vaccines on, and then we move on and then that's it. I see that when, I like the fact that officials are coming out to talk about cold chain management. They are coming to talk about the value chain now, how it works, and carrying out coordinated campaigns. It only suggests, I feel like it suggests lessons have been learned.
Exactly.
From the past failures, where especially supplies arrive but never reach animals, or don't even arrive at all. Exactly. So for context, first of all, Nigeria loses about, should I say, billions of naira annually when it comes to livestock diseases. I live with a veterinarian as my
Okay.
neighbor, and she tells me, like, I engage her in discussions about this, and she tells me a lot about, I mean, I like animals. I like to learn about animals, to
Okay.
understand animals, even if I do not like to keep one. But then I'm just
Okay.
interested in knowing more
Knowing,
about. And
yeah.
then she fills me in. She tells me a lot of this. That's why I'm talking passionately about this. I mean, we should pay attention to this sector very, very well. We should pay attention to this sector, because vaccine alone, let me not go out of the news. Vaccine alone, we should understand that it won't fix livestock productivity, because many small-scale farmers still operate outside formal veterinary systems. They are relying on guesswork or maybe informal treatment, what they know. Self-taught, not like they should not, but we are relying too much on self-taught knowledge. So I just feel like if states don't pair this kind of interventions with farmer education and tracking systems, the impact will fade fast.
Of course.
That is what we should know. The impact will fade fast. So still, this is a kind of quiet, but it's an unglamorous intervention, but it's a very
Serious.
interesting, very wonderful, very deliberate, very intentional, very important intervention that actually improves food security as a whole over time, and we need more of this.
Exactly. I would just say health is wealth, because it matters what you consume. What goes inside you is very important. Somebody say you are what you eat. So when you don't take care of that particular thing, that protein you want to eat, you just want to consume. That's why we get a lot of strange sicknesses this time around. And you go to hospitals, you'll be hearing names of sickness. I'll be like, where is this one coming from? The person will tell you, I take good water, I stay in a clean environment. What about what you consume? It's very important. That's why I feel that this is very, very necessary, that farmer education, because most farmers most people that bring up all these animals do not have the formal education of how to take care of them properly. And you can see that most of them, the environment in which they grow all these animals actually not neat, not well kept. And we do not have like supervisors or inspectors that go around to check this environment to make sure that, okay, this person is fit, this person can do this business. We just see everybody diving into the business because they feel they can get income from it, not minding how to mind the business, cater and care for those animals. Too need care.
Exactly.
They need attention. These are things you sell out to people. Majority buy from you, and you don't know where it's going to, and at the end of the day you don't know that you yourself are contributing to the large amount of people that get infected at the end of the day. So please, let's try and take this very, very important.
Okay, let's try and take it very, very important. It is an important issue. But then let's see the next story we have here. The Healthcare Federation of Nigeria says technology-driven private sector innovation is essential to achieving universal health coverage as Nigeria continues to face high out-of-pocket healthcare spending and limited public funding. Speaking at the media briefing yesterday ahead of the Federation's 2026 annual conference in Lagos, its president, Mrs. Njide Ndili, said recent government decisions includes the allocation of a federal tertiary hospital to private operators show growing recognition of private sector capacity to improve healthcare quality and access. She said enrollment under Nigeria's health insurance scheme has risen to nearly 20 million people, but millions, especially in the formal sector, remain uncovered. According to her, private sector digital solutions such as mobile-based enrollment platforms inspired by banking and telecommunications reforms could help close this gap and reduce direct payment by patients. Also speaking, the Federation Executive Secretary, Mrs. Olufemi Akingbade, said fragmentation and high energy costs were driving up healthcare prices, adding that shared use equipment models and power sector partnerships could lower costs. The conference themed Transforming Healthcare, Leveraging Private Sector Innovation to Achieve Quality Outcomes and Universal Health Coverage will take place in Lagos from March 4th to 5th, 2026. And I think this conversation is overdue, and I am glad it's been said plainly this time around, because Nigeria's healthcare system runs in runs in reality on private spending.
Okay.
Yes, in reality, it's been run on private spending. So because we have over 70% of health care costs here are paid directly from households. They are paid directly. They're paid directly from households, from our pockets, not from the government, not from any insurance. I don't know how well, we're talking the other day, myself and Wadi, on the Idea Money Digest. I don't know how well NHIS runs. I know it's been changed to NHIE. Yes, but I don't know how well it's run. I don't know. Every day I see on the news that the federal government is trying to get more people to enroll into the NHIA system. But even people that, I mean, he was giving an example the other day how, I mean, when you're serving, I think you have, as a copper, as a youth copper in Nigeria, you have it covered that you can use the NHIS, NHIA, I don't know which one to call it now, NHIA. But you go to the hospital, from his experience he was sharing, you go to the hospital and then after consultation, you're being asked to go and get drugs and your NHIA cannot cover for it. You're still being referred to outside the hospital to go and get, you know, drugs. That is what we are facing in Nigeria. Even to run tests, you hear what and this is not available. Go outside and run your test and come back. Why is it so? People cannot afford health. That at the end of the day, people cannot afford healthcare in Nigeria. And we know NHIA is supposed to cover half of the cost of what you are supposed to pay. If you're supposed to pay 600,000 naira, NHIA is supposed to cover at least half of it, and you're supposed to pay like 300,000 naira. But then you're left to, you know, pay from your pocket. And I just feel like this is not a ideology that this is not an ideology that you know, it is the lived experience of people in Nigeria. That's what I'm trying to say in essence. This is our lived experience. We are borrowing money from where I don't know to pay hospital bills because, like you said, health is wealth and we need to survive. So what the Healthcare Federation is really saying is that government alone cannot carry this burden and pretend otherwise, you know, that they have been taking, you know, the responsibility for this cost over the years. We all know that we are paying for healthcare by ourselves. There's no form of insurance. So the reference to mobile enrollment models is telling here because Nigerians didn't wait for perfect policies before embracing digital banking. We didn't wait for the best digital system before we embraced digital banking. What forced us to this is innovation. That is what forced us to this, is innovation. You know, innovation forced us to adapt to the system. And Nigeria, just like we say, that's why I hold on to that word strongly, that we are very resilient people. And we find our way where there is no way. Exactly. And that is what Nigerians have done over time. Yeah. So healthcare could follow the same path if regulation allows it. Healthcare could follow the same path. We can't say we are waiting for the most glamorous technology or digital system before Nigerians are going to be enrolled into a system that is going to cater for them or take care of their health. Now, here's the part that may ruffle feathers small. Yes, so put your feathers in place because private sector involvement doesn't, how should I even put it, doesn't automatically mean better or cheaper care. Exactly. That is not what I'm saying. Exactly the point. So without all of this strong oversight, it can deepen inequality. So this is where government needs to charge themselves seriously. This challenge is about balance. It's about balance. Let's just let innovation, you know, thrive while protecting patients, while protecting people from being priced out. Let's find the balance here because you are not paying low in public hospitals and you cannot even still get the best care, and you are running to private hospitals that you believe you can get the best care. You may sometimes get the best care, but look at what has been happening of recent. You know, look at what Chimamanda came out to say. It's a private hospital and so many other cases. So I just feel like we need to find the balance here. It doesn't mean that private hospitals have the best care. Hospitals in general, private, public, should have the best care because they have the patient's interest at heart. They want people to survive, you know. And first of all, it starts with cost. Think of cost. For instance, energy cost. Let me put energy cost, for instance, you know, quietly adds up to all of those hospital bills. Of course. There is no electricity supply in a hospital. What do you expect? and they are trying to run on diesel, because of sophisticated equipment.
And they need money for all this.
For all of those things. So who is going to pay? The cost is going to go back to people.
Back. Yes.
It's going to go back to people. We are the ones who is going to
suffer for
it. We are going to start
at
paying
the end of the day.
for it. That's why you hear some of these outrageous what do they call it? Outrageous hospital costs, outrageous healthcare costs. You begin to hear all of those things. You can't pay bills in the hospital. You begin to hear ridiculous prices, ridiculous costs.
Both in public hospitals.
I'm talking of hospitals in general. I mean, like, you can't tell the difference with private hospitals and public hospitals.
Not
I went for an eye
anymore.
checkup last week. I have not concluded because the next level of consultation is far. I was thinking, I dodged a private hospital because I was thinking, and I met the same price in a public hospital.
Okay.
And I am covered for NHIA. I have a coverage for NHIA, and it cannot, help me. It's there. I mean, I cannot remember the last time I enjoyed public health service in Nigeria. So we need to just do better with our healthcare system, because this story matters, because universal health coverage isn't just about health issue. Let us even get it right. It's about economic one. It's the pockets of people who are telling. You are making money today. You are going to spend everything in the hospital. Say you fall sick or something just happened to you.
That's right.
As simple as keloids.
Yes.
My sister wanted to go just to get the take off the keloids, and from 150,000 it rose to 250,000. And you understand all of these things. So I just feel like this is something Nigeria should do something. We should find a solution, and we should find a solution. We should just find a solution to our problems, especially this healthcare issue.
You said, in fact, you said everything in my mind, because really the reason why you see death rates keep going high is because of the fact that these things are not being looked into. What is the duty of an HIA? Number one, improve access care. You improve the access care, that's one. And secondly, to lift up the burden from families. And if all these things are not looked into, what are you now telling an average man who cannot afford to pay the bills? I think they made the public hospitals for people that cannot afford the private. But right now, it's not looking almost same thing, because you go to public hospitals and you see patients unattended to. Many of them are there for like months, not because they've not been taking treatment, but because after the treatment they do not even have money to discharge themselves. And you see them being held in those hospital facilities because they need to pay. So what is the government really doing about it? Health is wealth. If everybody keep dying, so who will be left to be ruled over? That's one thing that should come to the mind of people. Really, this needs to be looked into, because it's no longer funny. You have headache. That's why I see most people are managing their sickness at home.
Yes.
They will tell you going to the hospital now
is not advisable.
It's not advisable at all. You go to the hospital, be it private or public, you pay to consult a doctor, you have to pay huge amount of money. They were telling me last time that to see a doctor, you have to pay 7,000. And I say, what? Yes. I said, wait, what am I? They say yes, to see him, to tell him your problem. Just to tell him your problem, you pay 7,000 naira. This is becoming very, very ridiculous. And that's why you see most people that can afford it do not even trust in the system.
Exactly.
They are not flying their families over them, because
even with the huge amounts,
I'm telling you,
they're
not even sure they can get the care they want. You see them going outside to get treatment because they feel these people are just making money out of this thing. Nobody is ready to give in the work. But you can see most people are ready to give in the work. But if you go to other private and public hospitals, you can also tell that most of the problem is payment, no money, no this, no that. Like you mentioned, buying of diesel here and there, the electricity and the light system is not stable, and everything is just going south. What do you expect those people also to do? They have to start billing people coming, the patients, just to what? To balance up
for those costs.
Exactly. So these things needs to be looked into, really.
Well, we've said much. Let's see the last story we have here, where Nigeria's Senate has passed provisions allowing the electronic transmission of election results, contrary to reports suggesting the move was rejected. Senator Enaya Abaribe made the clarification on Thursday, saying the Senate approved the provision as contained in the 2022 Electoral Act during plenary. Speaking to journalists, Abaribe said the confusion arose from his interpretation of proceedings in the chamber, stressing that the Senate President clearly affirmed that approval in real time. He explained that electronic transmission emerged from an extensive legislative process involving the National Assembly, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and civil society groups with broad consensus across party lines. The senator added that the Senate will reconvene to formally adopt its votes and proceedings, after which a harmonization committee will reconcile differences with the House of Representatives version of the bill before it is sent to presidential assent. He said the decision reflects the Senate's commitment to transparency and credible elections. I think this clarification tells us more about Nigeria's politics than about technology, first of all. But because electronic transmission has become, should I say, a symbolic battlefield, less about servers and more about, trust. So when confusion like this erupts over something that is, already in law, it only shows how fragile public confidence in institutions has become, not in technology per se, but in the institution itself. So what Abaribe is doing here is damage control, but also something else, if I should put it that way, because he's kind of asserting institutional memory. So the debate here is not even debating. It's not debate. It's not strong for me. This is something that has already been passed into law since 2020 in the Electoral Act law. It has been passed into law since 2022. So I just feel like it's just about putting our infrastructure in place, training people that needs to be trained, and just align political will as well after you have put all these things in place. Without those, I just feel like the law will, how do we used to say that it exists only on paper and is not being translated into real time, situations. Elections will just be there. If these things are not translated into real time situations, elections will just be there to remain contested on streets and in courts. Every day we'll keep going over the same issues. And secondly, we need to understand that technology won't save Nigerian election on its own. I'm telling you. It has to be transparent, because this technology do not operate themselves by themselves. We operate on them. So I just feel like transparency improves, when an institution behave predictably, and the consequences are also enforced. So we should just be transparent about this, because all of these digital tools, they can help. We are in that era now. So it can help, but they will not replace integrity at the end of the day. So this is a question of integrity more than talk about technology. Technology is there. Good technological systems are there. It is how we use them that matters. It is the infrastructural facilities we put in place to ensure that those technologies work properly for us, for our own good, and how we use them. Secondly, let's be transparent about usage. Let's build on let's not replace technology help with integrity. Integrity should be there in as much as technology is there. So I just feel like the real question is not even whether results can be transmitted electronically, like I said before. That is not the question here. It is whether all of the actors that are involved in this process are willing to, accept outcomes when they don't win. It's not the one that somebody will not win and then you come out and start contesting it. Exactly. When they'll tell you that it has been, computed electronically, it has been, gathered electronically and, presented electronically. So you will now come out and be contesting the results. Do they believe in technology? Do Nigerian political leaders believe in technology? First, let's start with that. Let's start with training this mind. Let's politics align with technology at this point in time.
The technology, people are definitely going to be put in place there to use them. The technology will not use itself.
Exactly.
Now, what I would say is, according to what I was telling Adewale yesterday, that we have the solutions to this problem. It's just that we do not want to start with the solutions. We have people of great minds there that can actually look into these things and know exactly what is going on. Do we believe in this system
That's
that
just
we're
it, because
putting in
nothing
place?
is going on.
Because somebody will say, I do not want to talk nothing about election and how it's going to be run, because they already have their conclusions of what they want to do. They know how they want to run these things. So I don't think my input will make any difference. But anyways, do some of them actually believe in this process that we're talking about? Because like you mentioned, at the end of the day, we still see people going to court and not agreeing and disagreeing here and there. Do they believe in this process? Will they be transparent enough, accountable enough at the end of the day, at the end of the section? That is what we care about, because this is Nigeria. In as much as I know that what has been decided, we too have our little inputs to make. They're going up and down, and then I'm talking about where I'm hammering more is the protection of the people that will be involved at the end of the day. We do not want much casualties, just like we've experienced. If it can be a different 2027 for us, we are cool with it. But we're looking forward for everything to go well. They know how to run these things. They know what to do. They know things to put in place to make sure these things are balanced. But who is coming out to implement this? That is the problem. Everybody is shifting back, wanting to know what is going on and what is not going on. But I believe everything is going to be put in place and balanced at the end of the day.
Okay, let's look forward to 2027 then.
Let's look forward to it.
Let's see the head.
I hope you're going to vote.
Of the that will be a discussion for another when we leave here. Well, let's see the recaps of the news we brought your way. That MAKINDE appoints new security advisor, and the federal government supplies EKITI with 80,500 livestock vaccines, and private sector innovation vital to universal health coverage, says Health Care Federation of Nigeria. And also, Senate passes electronic transmission of election results. ABARIBE clarifies. And that's the much we can bring on this segment for you, but you will be joining us on the discussion segment after this break. Stay with us.
Number 7, nanotechnology in medicine and electronics. When you shrink technology down to the nanoscale, you open up whole new possibilities. In medicine, researchers are exploring nanoparticles that deliver chemotherapy drugs directly to tumors, reducing side effects. MIT and Brigham and Women's Hospital have developed nanosensors that can detect cancer biomarkers in blood. In electronics, nanoscale transistors are already pushing Moore's law further, with IBM unveiling a 2-nanometer chip in 2021 that promises major gains in performance and energy efficiency. The global nanotechnology market is projected to surpass $250 billion by 2030, showing just how central this field is becoming.
5G technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
Okay, good to have you back. This is the Idea Morning Digest here on Idea Television. And yes, we're here with the discussion segment where we're going to be looking at very crucial, very important issue that sits at the intersection of human concerns. We're talking about how the UN wants 4.4 is sent out a warning that 4.5 million girls are at risk of genital mutilation in 2026. And like I said before, this issue sits at the intersection of human rights, public health and social justice. And the United Nations Population Funds has raised a fresh alarm that 4.5 million girls around the world could be at risk of female genital mutilation in 2026, despite decades of advocacy and global commitments to end the practice. And while progress has been recorded in some countries, the UN says the pace of change is far too slow, particularly in Africa, which continues to bear the highest burden. More concerning is the persistence of the practice, even within medical settings. A reminder that harmful traditions can adapt rather than, disappear. And this warning comes as the world marks the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. A day meant not just for awareness, but for renewed action. And this morning, that is what we'll be unpacking. What this warning really means, why this practice continues, and what ending FGM, that's female gender mutilation, by 2030 will truly require. Let me start with the deep side, because what always strikes me is is that female genital mutilation doesn't survive because people are unaware of the harm. That phase, passed a long time ago of whether people are aware, that it is very harmful to their health. In many communities, everyone knows it causes pain.
Of course.
Everyone knows that it causes long health complications.
Exactly.
Everyone knows that it causes trauma, some sort of psychological mental issue or the other. But the reason it survived is far more political and social than even cultural. Let us get it right. In places where the practice continues, you will see that a female genital mutilation, I'm going to call it FGM, I'm calling it so people will know what we're talking about, often functions like, should I say, a gate pass into social acceptance. It's more like families are less worried about health outcomes and are more afraid of social exclusion of their daughters. Yes, being deemed as unmarriageable, or that morally respect that will be given to the girls. That is what families are more concerned about. That's why I say it's far more political, social than even cultural. It has gone beyond that cultural aspect of it. You see that a lot of families are preventing this narrative that a girl should be morally upright and is tied to being the male owned, they'll say circumcision. So if it comes to the male owned, even religiously it is approved. So we understand that case, but
yes.
When a practice like this becomes tied to a girl's future security, ties to a girl's health in all aspects of it, both health body wise, both health mentally, every aspect of it, then I feel like laws alone don't scare people enough to abandon it. We saw what happened in the Gambia early 2025. A little baby girl died
because of
FGM. So there's also the enforcement problem here we rarely talk about. We rarely confront this issue, honestly. We rarely confront it. That enforcement issue. Many countries technically, in the Gambia, FGM has been banned since 2008, if I am not mistaken, or 2008, 2012. And yet, it resurfaced in 2025, just last year. And we lost a little girl who has a bright future, like we will say.
for nothing.
We never know what will become of her, but she has a bright future, and then we just cut her life short. Like, she has not even gotten to anywhere. She has not even done anything tangible in her life, and then we cut her life short. All because we are trying to favor some sort of social beliefs, some sort of cultural beliefs, some sort of tradition. We are trying to fulfill some sort of traditional rights or what, I don't know. That's why I go back to enforcement. Enforcement has been weak. Countries have technically, that's why I say technically, banned FGM. But enforcement is still weak. We are still seeing it's still selective. Enforcement is still selective. Yes,
very selective.
It's still selective because some of the people some of the leaders in the government that ban this, two are traditionally tied We know in Africa, no matter how we say there's civilization or whatnot, tradition is tradition. A lot of us still hold on to a tradition. I'm not saying we shouldn't hold on to tradition. I mean, tradition is our identity, but something that is putting our lives at risk,
you're still holding on to it.
It's no longer tradition again. Any tradition that will be harmful, to your life whatsoever is not tradition any longer. It's supposed to be put aside. It is supposed to be put aside, because we are seeing all of this ban, all of this enforcement. They have been weak. They have been selectively carried out. They have been, quietly avoided somehow to prevent all of this community backlash. Let them not come out and say, this is the person that said they should ban it. This is the person that said they should, do it for the respect of tradition or what. And you see that because even some of the police officers that have been put to, like task force to ensure that people that are still carrying out all of this form of tradition or whatnot should be brought to the books. But you will still see that we cannot deny that some of these police officers are from these communities.
Of course.
And you don't want to
be the bad egg.
You don't want to be the bad egg in your community.
Exactly.
So local leaders sit in the same family meetings too. Police sit in the same family meetings too. Our leaders up there sit in the same family meetings. So when all of these cases arises, the law will not exist again. Even if the law is there looking at us, saying I am here, we claim that we are not seeing the law. It will be floating above real life. So we should understand that, and all of these things, it matters. So I would just say that here, my unpopular opinion.
As
yes, because there's an unpopular truth here, and that is that the international pressure sometimes, should I say, hardens resistance. Because when communities feel shamed rather than engaged, I'm just thinking outside the box now. When they feel shamed rather than engaged, most of this female genital mutilation becomes framed more as a defiance. Our ways versus their values.
Exactly.
So people begin to contest that. Okay, why will a foreign body tell us what to do in this case? So I feel like, and that defensiveness will keep this practice going on for a long time. They may not bring it in the open, but it will keep on going on behind the curtains.
Of course.
So we need to understand that any tradition that fails us, that kills people, that harms people's life, it's not a tradition fit for us to continue practicing. That is what we should understand. We should look beyond that. Oh, whatever information is coming from foreign bodies, the UN is saying that they want us to, tarnish our own. They want to tarnish our own ways. They want us to keep our own ways and move with their own values. But this is not the case here. We should understand that this is not the case here, Mary.
Exactly. It's very, very painful. How can you subject a human being to severe pain for eternity? Do you know the psychological aspect of that, what that can do to that person? Permanent disability and all that. And you're saying it's your culture, it's your tradition. Your forefathers did it and they survived. Are you your forefathers? It has come to the point where you're doing something repeatedly and you're not seeing a different result. What do you need to do? You change from it. You've seen several people die from this. You've seen a lot of things being... These things can cause infection that you cannot even control. So all this, I don't know, should I even say some of these communities are not educated, they are not enlightened, and most of them do not know modern ways of living. I don't know what to say, because I believe one of the things I would say is that most of all these enlightened people should go into these communities and start educating their women and start telling them the dangers of these things, because they are believing strongly in their religion. And one thing religion does to you is that it closes your mind. It makes you clouded. It makes you believe that that thing you're doing is real, and any other thing you see around it you don't believe at all. So now I know it's going to be hard to get these people convinced, because these are what the things that they grew up with. Imagine you doing this to a female and that person lost her life at the end of it. They'll tell you this person is not strong. The gods did not call this one. The gods did not call that one. You're supposed to, because they've seen people survive from these things. And they are believing that these people are supposed to also survive. You understand? And if they don't survive, they don't see it as anything. They'll be like, okay, that one just, and we keep, as in, we keep losing lives because of illiterate mindsets. Let me just put it like that. So these communities should at least get people that would educate them, bring them to the light. Because no matter what you say, before you get that mentality of there's going to take a while.
Well,
they will tell you these are what our forefathers left us with, so these are what we should follow. But this
really,
shouldn't be
even
it at
speaking
all.
of mentality, you are even talking about bringing awareness to communities and whatnot. It's sad that this is not, it's very disturbing, it's very sad that this is one of the most, I feel like this is one of the most disturbing, let me put it, evolutions of the practice, where the medicalization of it.
Exactly.
When you talk about bringing people out of communities, you know, creating awareness, and it's sad that this is not just practice in some of our rural communities, local
Not
communities,
only,
or our
yes,
villages,
yes,
or what.
yes.
This medicalization is often sold in progress. You know,
Yes,
it's
that's
actually
true.
it's a clever adaptation.
That's true.
What we have done these days, it's happening even in hospitals and city centers.
Exactly.
Whether you like
It's
it or
true.
not. What
It's
we
true.
have
I've
done
heard of
these
that.
days is
I've
that
heard of that.
when families take families mostly take most of this female genital mutilation to clinics.
Can you imagine?
Yes. That means we are not abandoning the practice here. We are trying to
Push it forward.
sanitize
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yes, and push it forward. Find
public
a more
acceptance.
standard way to still continue with this practice there. Okay,
Low
it is
key,
about,
low
okay,
key.
let's this
is bad.
You get. So first of, from an ethical standpoint, I think this is a collapse of professional responsibility.
Exactly.
Let's just start with that, because healthcare workers are trained to protect lives, they are trained to save lives, they are trained to prevent harm. Yet some of them, or most of them, even participate because of
Are buying
social pressure, like I said, starting off, financial incentives, you know, or personal beliefs.
Yes.
So these things are still practiced even in our healthcare centers, and in some regions you see that families trust nurses for it instead of we to do it at home. Okay, they are complaining about it. It seems like we are not supposed to do it at home. Let's go to the hospital. So most of these families, they trust nurses to, you know, do this thing. They trust midwives more than they even trust the traditional cutters. So to them, they are more advanced with the thinking. Oh, maybe they are complaining about using razor blades, using whatever sharp object to cut it. Let's go to hospital. When we go to hospital, maybe they mean that we should go to nurses and, you know, midwives that will do it better. That is what we are trying to say when we say shift from this kind of tradition. And this kind of thinking, when families take children, their girls to, you know, nurses, to, you know, health practitioners, it's kind of shift the practice into spaces that should be safe. But right now, it's not safe any longer. The idea alone, let's understand that it's not even safe. The danger here isn't just physical.
Not just
Let us
physical.
understand. You
Yes.
started off saying that it's not just physical,
It's not just
it's
physical.
psychological. It is
Psychological.
also systemic too.
Yes. Yes.
Because medicalization gives FGM a false legitimacy.
Of course.
You are standardizing it when it shouldn't be. And it tells parents that if a professional does it, like I said
It's better.
before, it's better.
And safer.
It must be okay. It's safer.
Oh no.
And that makes the eradication of it from our mindset, first of all, like you talked about, from our mindset, first of all, harder. It will
Very
become
hard.
hard for us to erase it.
Very
It will not
hard.
be easy at all, because the practice starts wearing that uniform of, you know, health care.
Oh,
Yes, if you take it to the hospital, it's health care. So you won't look at it as something very dangerous to your child's health or your
This is
child's
very
health.
disturbing.
And what we don't say enough is that medicalization reflects weak accountability.
Exactly.
It reflects that in our healthcare systems, where, how should I put it, where we get most of our professionals, the sanctions for this kind of things are rare because it's a normal practice, and then some of the oversights of all of this kind of things have been one thing. It has been one thing to another. So in that case, you see that ethics to such practices becomes optional.
I'm telling you.
It's either here or there. So ending FGM is not just only fighting it culturally.
Yes,
It's not
at
just
all.
going back to the system where it started off. I think a lot of, with the awareness NGOs have been creating for a while, for decades now, I think a lot of people have come to the awareness that, not realization, they have come to the awareness that it is bad to their health. But they have not come to the realization that this tradition is harmful to their health. So we should understand that disparity and see how we can balance
Tradition
it
is
and
powerful.
understand.
Tradition
Because
is powerful.
it's not this FGM, like I said, it's not about fighting. It's not just a cultural fight. It's also a governance and professional standard issue. That's why I say second problem about it. First, we spoke about when the second problem is about medicalization of it. So that's another problem. And then when we even look at why Africa continues to carry the heaviest weight with this
we're
issue,
always leading.
always leading with things that I
I'm
don't know.
telling you, we're always leading.
Africa's disproportionate burden isn't just about culture being more stubborn.
Yeah.
Like I've continued hammering on since I started talking. That narrative about our culture is stubborn, our culture is there, our culture is stubborn. That narrative is, I think it's lazy and inaccurate. There's one thing that I know in life is that things in life are dynamic.
Yes.
Things changes. All this culture we are even talking about, it came to be as a result of something that happened.
Of course.
That's how we now say, we must start. Somebody started wearing braids. Somebody started doing something before everybody inculcated, that habit, and everybody got used to it and became a thing. It became a tradition. It became, a way of life.
We now accept it to be a tradition.
To be a culture. This is our culture. Somebody started it. So the real issue here is all of those instability that are layered on, should I say, inequality. In conflict zones and most of these displaced communities, you will see that the protection system is kind of very weak, because when families are uprooted, practices that promise identity and continuity become more attractive, because these families are not in they're in a stable environment at this point in time. So in the case of FGM, in those moments, it's seen as a way of to preserve our culture. You take some people out of their environment, say, let's say because of insecurity, and then they have scattered our place. How do we continue our culture? How do we continue to keep it? These are the cases. They'll find a way to preserve all of those things belonging to them, belonging to them somehow. When everything else has failed you, let's find a way to keep our culture going. And this is it. Poverty too also plays another role.
High role.
I cannot lie about that. Poverty too also plays a role, because people, and this is something people will look at me and say, how does poverty now plays a role on it plays a role, but this is something people will rarely connect to.
Yes.
Directly. We will not directly connect to it, but it plays a role, because in communities where most of these girls, there's no economic opportunity for them. Economic opportunities are limited for them. Marriage becomes the primary form of security for them.
Exactly.
So in that case, if FGM is believed to be, rightly or wrong, to improve marriage prospects, families under all of this economic stress, all of these economic pressures rather, are more likely to cling to it, because this is a way to show that your girl is morally upright.
Can you imagine?
Yes, a man will want to marry her because she's morally upright.
Yeah.
So you want to
go for her.
Go for it. You want to what do they call it? You want to mutilate a girl.
Of course.
You want to mutilate a girl because this is a form of morality, so that a man will see her, get married to her, and say, yes, she's morally upright. So poverty plays a role here. And why will you want to give your daughter at a young age to marry or fast? Most of them is because of poverty. You want to reduce burden from you. So I just feel like there's also the donor fatigue problem too, because donors are tired at this point in time. Programs will start strong. You see the awareness. NGOs will come here and there, but at the end of the day, fundings come from foreign aids, and when these when these donors are tired, of funding some of this awareness, some of this education about things like this, the consequences will tie back to the society. It will tie back to the people. What you are trying to educate people on, you don't have the this thing to continue it. You don't have the power to continue it people get tired of it. But I think we have said enough. But
Of
this is
course.
not where this issue
At all,
and I think
at
we're going
all.
to bring
Yeah, sure.
somebody from the NG, from maybe one of these NGOs or
To explain
from
more.
a healthcare field to come talk about it. But this is where we end our discussion for today. We've heard a lot about female genital mutilation, and it's not just a cultural issue, just like I hinted and hit on, because it is more of a human rights issue. It is more of a public health issue and a test of, global commitment to protecting girls. And as the UN have warned that millions more are at risk, the question is no longer whether the world knows the harm, but whether it is willing to act fast enough to end this once and for all. And that's where we'll leave the conversation this morning. You can continue the discussion with us on our social media platforms at Idea Television. Follow us on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And share your thoughts. Share your thoughts, and also watch the segment again on our YouTube channel. My name is Cynthia Bassi, and of course, I have been with
Mary Ojumajo.
Okay, and with that, we'll say thank you for starting
Thank
your day
you.
with us.
Thank you.
See you next time.
No administration in modern history has done more to